The markets are closed, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Catch up with us on Business Brief. Asian shares are mixed as Chinese markets rise while investors await the planned meeting between President Donald Trump and China's top leader. Japan's Nikkei, South Korea's Kospi, and Australia's ASX are in the red while the rest are in the green. In the currency market, the US dollar weakens against the Japanese yen, the Singapore dollar, and the Thai baht, but strengthens against the South Korean won and holds steady against the Hong Kong dollar. The Australian dollar, meanwhile, gains against the greenback. In commodities, gold falls nearly 0.9%, while oil prices edge lower. In cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin slips 0.8%, and Ethereum declines over 1%. The Philippine peso slips to its all-time low today. Data from the Bankers Association of the Philippines show the peso trading at 59.20 intraday, weaker than the previous record low of 59 flat to the US dollar. The Bangko Sentral says the peso's depreciation reflects market concerns over a possible slowdown in economic growth amid the infrastructure spending controversy, as well as expectations of further monetary policy easing by the BSP. President Bongbong Marcos witnesses the signing of the ASEAN-China Free Trade Area upgrade in Kuala Lumpur. The deal is expected to broaden integration by focusing on digital trade, sustainability, and greater inclusivity for micro, small, and medium enterprises. The updated agreement is also expected to streamline non-tariff procedures and lower regulatory barriers. The Foreign Affairs Department says this is beneficial to the Philippines as it creates new opportunities in green and digital economies, among others. President Marcos orders a price freeze on basic and prime commodities until the end of the year. It aims to ensure price stability during the holiday season. Presidential Communications Undersecretary Claire Castro says the president also ordered the Trade Department to continue its coordination with manufacturers to prevent unwarranted price hikes. At least one business group expresses dismay after President Marcos failed to get a favorable tariff deal with U.S. President Donald Trump, while our ASEAN neighbors did. Paulo Barcelon joins us on the line for the details. Paulo.
Mai Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry Vice President for Trade Brian Ang says the business community is disappointed with how Manila's neighbors got tariff deals with the U.S. while the Philippines ended up with none. Thailand, Malaysia, and Cambodia scored big deals, with Malaysia getting a deal on rare earths, while some Vietnamese goods will get zero levies after further discussion with Washington. Ang says the disappointment comes mostly from the country's semiconductor industry as well as exporters.
Very, very depressed na sila. They were hoping na because over 50% of our exports are from semiconductors, no? So, very depressed sila na wala pa rin lumalabas na positive feedback on this sectoral tariff. We are shocked that this news came out. We were expecting a little bit of good news na because we have been negotiating for at least sectoral tariff relief when it comes to our semiconductor industry. What's happening is the total opposite. You see our neighbors getting special tariff exemptions, and the Philippines has so far received none.
Ang argues the Philippines should rebound by eyeing concessions or requests from Washington, such as finding ways to keep more call centers in the Philippines following the ongoing deliberations in the U.S. Congress on America's Keep Call Centers bill, which can hurt the Philippines' IT BPM industry. Ang also says the Philippines has given way more to deserve better trade relations with its so-called close ally.
Ang hinihingi natin, semiconductor tariff, BPO, malaki ba yun? Di ba? Hindi naman kalakihan yun. At the expense, si China galit na galit sa atin. Walang Chinese investor, walang Chinese tourist, binabangga yung Coast Guard natin.
Meanwhile, RCBC chief economist Michael Ricafort says the Philippines may have to wait and see if Trump can change his mind about tariffs for the Philippines. He also urges the government to start looking at other markets for key products to counter the effect of these tariffs to the Philippine economy.
So yun, yung diversification ng markets, diba? Tingin ka sa ibang market sa Asia, sa Middle East, sa Europe, kahit South America, di ba, yung mga kasi US is 17% of total exports. So it's the biggest export market of the Philippines. So diversify.
Ricafort adds this move can help protect the country from the remaining years of the Trump administration and help open up the Philippines to other export markets. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro told reporters in Kuala Lumpur Monday night that trade negotiations with Washington are still ongoing. Mai.
Thank you for that report, Paulo Barcelon. Senate President pro tempore Panfilo Lacson reveals the lawyer's signature on the affidavit of Orly Guteza, the surprise witness in the flood control scandal, is fake. Lacson cites the ruling of a Manila court on the supposed signature of attorney Pechi Rose Espera. Despite this, Lacson said Guteza's sworn statement presented during the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing remains valid. But what's in question is the credibility of Guteza, who claimed to be a former security consultant for former lawmaker Zaldico. Guteza testified that he personally delivered suitcases of money to the residences of Co and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. The executive judge of the Manila RTC has recommended a preliminary investigation into the alleged falsification. Attorney Espera earlier denied notarizing the affidavit. We're taking a short break. More stories are coming up next. You're watching Business Brief. You're back on Business Brief. The parent company of popular e-wallet GCash secures approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission for its stock split transaction. The move is seen as a possible prelude to a stock market debut. In a regulatory filing on Tuesday, Ayala-led Globe Telecom Incorporated said the number of common shares of Globe Fintech Innovations Incorporated, or Mint, increased to 71.66 billion from 2.15 billion previously. Its authorized capital stock remains at 2.15 billion pesos as the par value is reduced to 3 centavos per share from 1 peso. Metro Retail Stores Group Incorporated unveils a new premium lifestyle store format with the launch of Metro Corner at Mandani Bay in Mandaue City. The new store combines the convenience of a neighborhood shop with the sophistication of a boutique experience, marking its entry into a new retail category designed for urban communities. President and COO Joel Orense says Metro Corner represents the next chapter of Metro Retail's innovation, a compact, modern concept built around convenience without losing the brand's signature quality and warmth. It offers a curated selection of essentials, organic products, and artisan goods tailored for condo residents and urban professionals. This as Metro Retail continues to expand its 79-store network across Luzon and the Visayas. An economist expects U.S. tariffs on Philippine electronics to remain minimal even as trade talks between Manila and Washington continue. On BNC's Business 360, Alex Escucha notes that the electronics sector is central to the ongoing negotiations.
Our biggest export overall is electronics. So that is what we are trying to protect. And in the first round of announcements of Trump, he made it clear that in general, electronics exports would be more or less exempted from the tariffs. And I expect that if they will not continue to be exempted, at least the tariffs will be minimal going forward.
Meantime, he warns that with full-year growth seen at only about 5.3%, the country risks falling further behind regional peers. The unaudited consolidated net income of Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation climbs to 8.2 billion pesos in the first 9 months of the year. In its disclosure, the company said the figure is 32% higher compared to the same period last year. The growth is attributed to a 13% expansion in gross customer loans and a 25% increase in fee income performance. Excess funds of PhilHealth amounting to a whopping 60 billion pesos have yet to be returned despite the president's order last month. In an interview on BNC's At the Forefront, health reform advocate Dr. Tony Lichon said the PhilHealth has not received updates on the process of remitting the money from the National Treasury. Lichon said Finance Secretary Ralph Recto may still be waiting for the Supreme Court's decision on the transfer of funds, and several petitions have been filed before the High Court questioning the constitutionality of the transfer. Lichon also urges economic managers.
Problema natin, October na ngayon, November na, December wala ka ng pasok, kailan isosoli yun?
Oo nga.
So dapat ang Supreme Court nagde-decide na.
Lichon also urges economic managers, Recto and DBM Secretary Amena Pangandaman to resign in light of these budget irregularities. He claims Recto, Pangandaman, and even President Marcos are liable in the defunding of PhilHealth, citing also the zero-subsidy budget allocation in the 2025 budget and the anomalous DPWH insertions.
Ang nangyari, nag-form siya ng independent commission, dinidefer niya ngayon responsibility to this private sector na walang budget, walang staffing and all, tapos walang power for contempt and subpoena. So I think the president is guilty as well.
The Securities and Exchange Commission announces that its latest reforms have generated over 80 million pesos in savings for micro, small, and medium enterprises as well as other corporations. The discounts were granted across more than 40,000 transactions under new measures designed to streamline registration and lower fees for businesses. Since July, the SEC has implemented 3 memorandum circulars aimed at supporting MSMEs and companies entering the capital market. MC6 provided a 50% discount on authenticated company documents, while MC8 and MC9 introduced reduced rates for registration and capital market fees, resulting in significant savings for thousands of small businesses. SEC Chairperson Francis Lim says the initiative shows the Commission's commitment to making the corporate sector more inclusive. He adds lowering barriers for small enterprises will help unlock their potential as key drivers of economic growth. We're taking another breather, a look at how Philippine shares did today. When we return, stay tuned. You're back on Business Brief. U.S. President Donald Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi signed a framework agreement on critical minerals and rare earths after a meeting in Tokyo. The countries plan to cooperate through use of economic policy tools and coordinated investment to accelerate development of diversified, liquid, and fair markets for critical minerals and rare earths. The two leaders will later visit the U.S. naval base in Yokosuka, which is home to the aircraft carrier USS George Washington, part of the U.S. military's powerful presence in the region. Trump will then meet business leaders in Tokyo before traveling on Wednesday, October 29, to South Korea. He's expected to hold talks there with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Trump said he hopes to seal a trade war truce between the world's two biggest economies. Amazon is planning to cut as many as 30,000 jobs. This as the company seeks to cut down on expenses and compensate for overhiring. But the figure represents a small percentage of Amazon manpower at 1.55 million. Amazon has been implementing smaller job cuts over the past 2 years across several divisions. Philippine shares snap a 2-day losing streak and returns to positive territory. The PCCI ended 0.3% higher at 59.53, making it the second best performer in Asia. Sectoral indices were mixed. Financials rose the most with an over 1% gain, while mining and oil fell more than 4%. Advancers narrowly outnumbered decliners 95-94, with value turnover at 4.6 billion pesos. Among the day's most active stocks, BDO Unibank climbed nearly 3%, while Ayala Land slipped by almost 1%. In the currency market, the peso is currently trading at nearly 59.10 against the US dollar, weaker from the previous close of 58.90. That's a wrap for today's Business Brief. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business, only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.